Hey, in the wake of the release of Windows 11, I'm sure you saw this, Microsoft has also released some new hardware to go along with its all new OS. Maybe even a new flagship laptop? I honestly don't even know what that means anymore. Will it be the most popular? Is it the most fancy? Who freaking knows? Let's talk about them. Hey, it's Andrew, and I'm branching out a little bit today. Most of you probably know, but I'm a Mac user, and I am fully invested in the Apple ecosystem. I don't even own a PC that runs Windows. So I decided I wanted to do a video talking about the new hardware Microsoft released because, well, tech is fun. Cheers, nerds. I did a video recently talking about some of the highlights of Windows 11, and I started to look into the new Surface devices, and I gotta be honest with you, I got a little bored. That's not because I'm an Apple fanboy, although that's probably part of it. No. I just quickly reached the conclusion that I had no idea who Microsoft was marketing these new devices to. I was watching Microsoft's event from September, and it focused heavily on the articulation of screens and their new pencil, or what they call the Surface Slim Pen 2, and all the different ways you can draw on the thing. I mean, the screen tilts this way and that. It now includes haptic feedback, so it feels more like the actual utensil you're trying to create with. Now, I get there are certain creators that need this type of thing, and I don't want to take anything away from them. I just don't expect that this type of functionality appeals to the masses. I guess I just don't get it. The Slim Pen 2 does look pretty cool, all things considered. Microsoft has designed a really clever keyboard case for the Surface with a place to store and charge the thing. This is really clever. Only the keyboard and pen cost a whopping $280 additional, bundled together, of course. Now, why doesn't the Surface just come with the keyboard? No, really, I'm asking. Does anybody know anyone who bought the Surface and not the keyboard to go with it? Are we trying to say that this is really a tablet? I would be mind blown if I go over to a buddy's house and ask to use his iPad and he hands me his Surface with no keyboard. I mean, I don't know why I would need his iPad, but more confusing, why would he even have a Surface as a tablet? All right, stop it, Andrew. Microsoft wouldn't be making this if people weren't buying it. And there are likely plenty of people who like Windows over Mac or iPad and would prefer to have this two-in-one device. This likely does fill a need. I just haven't seen that need. And I'm not saying I don't need a touchscreen Mac because, well, I don't. So, yes, I guess I am saying that. Now, enough of my senseless ranting. There are two really new Surface tablets now available. The Surface Laptop Studio, which looks to replace the larger desktop two-in-one, the Surface Studio, and the new Surface Pro 8. The Surface Laptop Studio starts at $1,600 with a Core i5 processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and 250 gigs of solid-state storage, and integrated graphics. Now, there are multiple upgrade options, including a discrete graphics card, which is cool. It does have a 120 Hz PixelSense Flow 14-inch display that can sit in 3 different positions. You got your standard position, your standard laptop clamshell. You can pull it out at an angle for things like gaming or watching movies, or lay it down almost completely flat for drawing on. It has an interesting 2-tier design where the lower tier is vented to allow for cooling. Although in a lot of the early reports I've read, it sounds like it's getting pretty hot, especially when plugged into power, even on the areas where you would rest your wrists to type. It still has that weird Microsoft proprietary charging connection, which is kind of dumb because you can just charge it through the 2 included Thunderbolt 4 ports. On the downside, the Surface Laptop Studio has limited upgradability. The RAM isn't user upgradable at all, and the SSD has to be upgraded at an authorized service center. Now, These things are likely not deal breakers for anyone, as this is really becoming more and more common. So just be aware if you're going to purchase the lower price configuration that your upgrade options are going to be very limited. If you're a Mac user, you're already used to this, so this is just kind of following trend. So kind of pricey to me, but hey, you get a 120 hertz display. So there's that. Then there's the Surface Pro 8. This is the new 2-in-1 device from Windows. Just like the Laptop Studio, it also has a Pixel Sense Flow display with a refresh up to 120 hertz. Now, I think Flow is Microsoft's branding for that 120 hertz display, but oddly enough, the Studio tones down the pixel density, so the resolution is actually a little higher on the Surface Pro 8. I'm not saying that means it's a better display. I haven't actually had the chance to see either of these in person yet. I'm sure they both look great. The Pro has a 13-inch display as opposed to the 14-inch on the Studio, and inside is a slightly different Intel processor. Looks like the Studio gets the H35 series Intel Core for a slight power boost. The Pro is only available with integrated graphics, as you would expect, but the option to add a discrete graphics card is available on the Studio. The differences seem to stop there for the most part. I mean, the Studio is a laptop, so it has a keyboard attached with the guts tucked in underneath it, like most laptops. The Pro is just like its predecessors and is very tablet-like in design, except it still doesn't seem extremely useful as a tablet on its own, which is annoying that it just doesn't come with the keyboard cover or the pencil. I mean, it's not surprising. They are charging a premium for these and will almost certainly sell a ton of them. I would buy them if I were buying this thing. The Surface Pro 8 starts at $1,100, but then add the keyboard cover and the pen, and you're up to almost $1,400. And the Studio starts at just $1,600, of course, without the pen, but with a keyboard. So it really depends on what you need this device to do for you. Now, I'm still a Mac guy, Apple fanboy. We covered that already. And my M1 MacBook Air has been by far the best computer I have ever owned. And I still haven't found the need for it to have a touchscreen. But you know what? Microsoft seems to be making some quality hardware now, and they, of course, make the operating system that runs on it. Now, this is very Apple-like in terms of controlling the whole experience. Apple took that to the next level by making their own silicon, but Microsoft did co-create these new line of Intel Core processors with Intel, so I think they're trying to achieve that same great experience. Who can blame them? I'd love to get my hands on one of these and really see what Windows 11 is going to look like on them for myself, but that's unlikely to happen. Apple fanboy. But you knew that. Hey, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.